Hello, and welcome to Two Pews in a Pod. Join us as we explore faith in a modern world at Evangelical Lutheran Church in Frederick, Maryland. Now, here is your host, Pastor Paul Baglios.
I'm Paul Baglios.
And I'm Megan Wyatt.
And we are pleased to welcome all of you who are watching or listening to this first of two episodes in our ELC podcast. This series, this two-part series, will be about our service trip to Boston for the youth of our congregation this summer. And we are being joined in this episode by a number of the young people who are going on that trip. This will be the first part. We're recording this before they have gone on the trip, and we will record part two once they've come back. But some introductions.
I'm Jules.
I'm Claire.
I'm Logan.
I'm Caleb.
I'm Patrick.
I'm John.
I'm Morgan.
And I'm Megan. It's nice to meet you all. So our Boston trip is coming up really quickly. We're departing in just a week from Sunday, and that is going to be a service trip. And what we are going to be doing while we're there is collaborating with UCC Synod and learning about urban poverty in Boston, how they are reacting to food insecurity, raising house costs, along with housing disparities. And some of the work and the learning that we're going to do is in community gardens, food pantries, homeless shelters, along with also learning, just immersing ourselves in Boston and what that community is like, and learning from the community action agencies that are doing such good work. So we are really excited to be able to go there and do good learning. So my question for you all, because you could be doing anything in the summer, is why Boston and why this trip? What makes you want to do this? And anybody can start.
I think it's just the appeal of getting to help people out, and most of everybody's summer kind of consists of a lot of the same things. So getting the ability to do something different and meaningful that you can share with people, or just people that you meet eventually, just to be like, yeah, I did do this. Or traveling, I've never been to Boston, so this is kind of big for me because I get to go, and it's for a purpose, not just for like leisurely activities, so it's a bit more meaningful.
Yeah, and I want to point out that Morgan's one of our young adult mentors who will be going on the trip, and was a youth group member for quite a while, quite a long time.
Yeah.
So we're happy to have her along in this new role. Does anybody else want to share their?
All right. I think connecting on to what Morgan said, the chance just to go to Boston. I've never been up north.
Yeah.
Just even past Pennsylvania, and just the chance to help people out no matter what, and just the chance to travel with it.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be able to serve in another community besides this one, and also to see what Boston is like.
Anybody else have any thoughts outside of traveling and serving and helping?
Kind of covered it all.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad. So I guess we can talk about, what are you looking forward to? Because who here has gone on a service trip with us before? I think almost everyone. Logan and Jules, this will be your first big week-long one. But what are you looking forward to with this trip?
I'm looking forward to getting to know another group of people besides everyone who was on the trip last year.
Yeah, because every time you have a trip and different people go, it changes the dynamic a little bit.
100%.
Yeah.
Because when I was in, it was different really every time that we went on a trip. So also getting to know more of the youth now, because I'm in this different role. It's pretty cool to help out, but also still know a couple people. So
yeah.
I think there's just a lot of opportunity, and it really it gets you closer with the people that you may not see, because people try and come as often as they can to these, to church and things like that, but it doesn't always happen. So getting to see people in a different role and get closer with them, just hanging out and doing something that matters, and just being there.
Yeah.
So.
It's definitely different when you're day after day with a group of people,
Yes.
Instead of just a couple hours of youth group or going out and having dinner is very different than being together in this kind of environment.
100%.
Yeah. Who else?
What are you looking forward to, Jules?
I'm looking forward to I'm looking forward to spending time with like new group of people because I only see them so often.
Yeah. When you told me the other night, Jules is nearing confirmation and was saying that confirmation and youth activities was like a breath of fresh air, I think is what you said, right? It's like to be around different people and not have school drama and those kind of things, that you just get to go somewhere and be. And I thought that was really like meaningful and impacted me as like a leader.
I think I'm thinking like the same thing with Jules. Like, since being recently confirmed, I think that like just going towards Boston with a different group of people outside of catechism or the youth group, it feels like a different sort of light.
Yeah.
It definitely feels like a next step into like, not freedom, but just that it's a different respect of where you're at. You don't feel like that necessarily, like you're like, oh, like you're still in like a smaller level because you're still a kid, but it's still that, it just feels like that next step. And having been on a trip where, you know, I was younger, and then the difference of when you're older and being able to now help the younger people, you know what either was lacking or could have improved. So that's what, like, trying to do the best for you guys, and also you making me better, because this group has changed so much since when I was in that, and it's improved heavily. So it's really nice to see where you guys have this coming from now, where I can kind of plug into and try to help out, but you also help me in the same respect.
I know. I tell her all the time. She's a youth leader. She just hasn't figured it out. Yeah. But I'd love to hear from some of you too. Like, what are you? Because I know you guys have all had big thoughts and experiences on our trip last year. Yeah. Go ahead, Caleb.
What should I talk about?
What are you looking forward to? No, it's okay. What are you looking forward to?
Who's your favorite apostle?
I'm looking forward to spending time with the people that I've known for almost, I mean, kind of half of the time I've been here.
Yeah, been here.
A long time.
Yeah.
And also, just reconnecting with newer people, I think, and also the food.
The food.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're hoping for good food. Absolutely.
That is always a good part of going somewhere else, because you get to try new things, and it's really cool.
Exactly.
I love food.
I like food.
There you
Is
go.
that your motivating factor in the corner? You're looking forward to food?
Good food in
That's why I'm
Boston.
here.
Yeah.
Always good food.
You feed me, Megan.
I will. I try to keep you happy, and so food is generally involved.
This is your other children.
They are. They're all my children. Yeah.
I miss Bo.
I know. Please, Logan made best friends this week at VBS. We're just coming out of VBS, so we're all very full of that energy too. But what do you guys take? Those of you who went on last year's trip, what was something that you took from that trip?
Kirk needs to put a shirt on.
Okay, we have people who need to put shirts on, but what is either a learning or something fun that came out of our Charleston trip?
The cooking the food together.
Making food together. Yeah.
I liked when we all when we all went to the beach all the time.
Yes.
We all liked the beach.
We went there a lot.
I like how, like, after we would do something for, like, the community, like when we went to that guy's house and we, like, fixed up his lawn, like, how appreciative everybody is, and, like, how much, even if you don't think that it's, like, gonna make that big of an impact, it does.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like a really special day, right? Because to us it was just like yard work at a house, but to see how thankful he was and how much that changed his perspective.
And we cleaned his house too. Like, I remember scrubbing like his door because there was a lot of like the algae or mold on it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the little things we do, right?
It just gives you that sense of pride where it's like something so common for you is like monumental for someone else. So the fact that you can do it with the people that you like, and you know, you're having fun on these trips. Like, I didn't get to go to Charleston, but when we went up to Garrett County up at the Deep Creek retreat, that was the closest I've ever been to everybody, like, for 1 week, and it was phenomenal. And you know, we had, you know, together, but we also had independence, so it didn't feel like that, like, bearing down, like this is what you have to do. Like it was just so free, and it just makes you happy to do these things because it doesn't feel like a chore. It feels like, I don't know, you're just giving something back.
So is there something you'd like to learn, knowing that we're going to be working in very different ways that we did last year, right? In serving, we're going to be learning about urban poverty. Is there something you are interested in, or is it something that makes you, that you're like, I would really like to learn when we're doing that work?
Well, anywhere I go, I try to learn something from it and try to grow off of any experience that I've ever had, places that are from where I'm familiar with.
Yeah. There's a very important man in our congregation who says that if you aren't continuing to grow and learn, right, the opposite of that is death. So I think very wise words, Caleb, and wise thoughts there. Yeah, that everywhere you go, you should learn, right? That's great.
Good.
That's really good. Yeah.
One of the things, and it's been a while, but one of the things that Megan and I have talked about as we think about the future, and this is a good chance to say, what do you think of this?
Yeah.
Is the possibility that we would identify through trial and experience a few key sites that then might be in a rotation, an annual rotation. So we're going to be eager to know what you think of your experience in Boston, because we might make sure that this gets scheduled as a mission trip, a service trip for young people in the congregation, like every 3 or 4 years, with some other sites in the rotation. And the idea, and thank you for doing this, Morgan, is that if you've gone on a service trip and you've gone on another service trip, that part of what would be occurring for you is you growing also as leaders of others.
And I think it's a good point because most of when I did these, we went south. We always went south.
I know. I don't know what that was.
We never went north. So like this is like the first time that this group has gone north in probably 10 years.
Oh, I don't know.
Something like that.
Yeah,
So, you know, it's cool. Me and the other adult leader, Jack, actually went out with Megan and had lunch, and we were talking about everything. And it was actually kind of interesting to hear that because, you know, it was like, oh yeah, we're going to Georgia, we're going to Charlotte, you know, whatever. But it was like, you didn't really think about it. And then you're like, oh yeah, this is the first time we're going somewhere new.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's so much that can change depending on where you're at. I mean, the difference of being in North Carolina compared to Boston is huge. So there's so many different things that can come with it that you may not realize when you do trips like Charleston or things like that. But when you go up to Boston, it can be completely different because there's just a whole new set of problems that could occur.
Right.
So
and variables, yeah. And our thought is that if we're rotating it, we're also creating tradition, right? We're creating that sense of like home out of these places. So you will have heard the stories of what, you know, the fun that they had in Charleston. All the younger middle schoolers are itching to go back. And then when you guys go back, you know exactly what it's like, so you can be leaders. So it's not just like relearning something new every time we go. What do you guys think? Is that like, do you think that makes sense? Yeah, I'm glad.
I like how it's almost like the Marlou Ridge.
Right.
Like just constantly going back every so often so you can get to like almost get a lay of the land that of where we would be.
Yeah.
the comfortability of going like Marlou, like going when I was like middle school was like our first retreat, and then going back in like high school like 2 or 3 times. It was like, oh, I know where I'm at, I know what I'm doing, or at least you know the lay of the land, so you're more comfortable, and that offers the experience for you and everybody else to be more comfortable, so you can really be in that experience without having to feel like that anxiety of what am I supposed to be doing.
Exactly, and I think there's something to be said for making relationships. It's going to allow us to make relationships as a congregation with those organizations we're working with, right? And they'll know, oh, they're coming this summer, and get excited to welcome us.
They're great.
Right. They do. Every time we go on trips, though, that's all I hear. So don't doubt it. Don't doubt your value.
Don't change it either.
Yeah.
John, you're being uncharacteristically quiet back there.
What are your
He
thoughts?
said he liked food.
Yeah, he did.
First
What
thing
is
he said.
something you're looking forward to?
Really getting to learn about Boston, getting to
Yeah.
learn about Charleston was really cool. That
Yeah.
tour was
Oh yeah.
That was
really
a phenomenal
interesting.
tour.
Yeah.
And getting to learn about the history of Boston will be really fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're so quiet for the first time today.
Well, this
over
is
the
just
crowd.
great. And those of you listening, those of you watching, as you see the 7 young people arrayed around this table between Megan and myself, you can see here the strength and the vitality of this wonderful congregation of which we are all a part. And they mentioned, but I want to say thank you all for helping with Vacation Bible School this year, which
Absolutely.
just ended today, shortly before we sat down to record this episode. You'll be sent off from worship 1 week from Sunday, correct?
Yes.
Am I saying
it's
that
coming
right?
up very quickly.
I will happen to be on vacation that weekend, but Pastor Mark Oldenburg will send you off with a blessing. We are so grateful
We are so
for your interest in being part of this service trip, and also for the time that you have given, even though you're not being paid to be here, for the time that you've given to record this podcast episode.
Yeah.
We'll look forward to hearing what you have to say when the trip is behind you. I'm Paul Baglios.
I'm Jules.
I'm Claire.
I'm Logan.
I'm Caleb.
I'm Patrick.
I'm John.
I'm Morgan.
And I'm Megan Wyatt. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we look forward to part 2 in just a couple weeks.
This has been 2 Pews in a Pod, a podcast hosted by the lead pastor of Evangelical Lutheran Church in Frederick, Maryland. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.